Hi friends. Now I demonstrate the actual program. Actually, I have written everything on the board. Because of my writing, few things we may not understand properly. That's why I demonstrate the entire code. Carefully observe that. Just I give a very brief explanation. Here, first we start with a comment. You must write. It is a convention. If you don't write also, you get the same result. But without heading, you never find any chapter in any book. So it is like a heading of the chapter. That's why you write a comment. Start with writing a comment. The comment should explain what is the task of the program in a simple, precise manner. We write. Actually, in commercial programs, many other items are there. And now, what is the task of the program? Who is the author? What is the date of development? Which version? What are the copyrights? Many things are there, but you don't bother about that. Being a small student project and all that, you simply write the task of the program in a precise this thing. Okay, and thereafter you have to write a blueprint class. Now let us name it appropriately. Now what is the appropriate name? CashBill is the appropriate name. You uh, write it in the Pascal case. Now we see class CashBill, and it is a blueprint class. Blueprint class is the concept is very important concept. Actually, many authors of the books, in the blueprint class only they write the main that is technically you get result, but conceptually it is very bad. That's why always you do one thing: blueprint class is separate, implementation class is separate. Like that reflects the real professionalism. So in the blueprint class only, if you write main and all that, you get result. But in blueprint, how can you write implementation? That is a very bad. That's why in all my programs from the day one, I first, however simple it is, first I write a blueprint class. Thereafter, I write implementation class. Implementation class, if you are working on a GDB compiler, you give it as main, or otherwise also you can give as a main, because in the main class you are writing main function. Main function is the starting point for the implementation. Okay, that point you remember. Thereafter, in the body, we define three instance variables. What are the three instance variables? Item name, numbers and rate. Appropriate types you take, names and all that string, numbers int, rate float. So three instance variables you have defined. Thereafter, what you are doing? Constructor you are defining. What for constructor? For initializing instance variables, you are writing constructor. Constructor name should be invariably, constructor name should be the name of the class in which the constructor is defined. So it should be CashBill, including case and spelling. Thereafter, three parameters you have to return, and short names you can use. And for individual parameter, you have to declare that point you have to remember. So string in, int n, float rate, that you have written. Within the body, you are initializing three instance variable. With that, constructor definition is over. Thereafter, instance method. Actually, in our CashBill, four items are there. Fourth item is amount. How we can calculate amount? Amount should be calculated through a function, instance method. Through a instance method, that name is calculate amount, that you are writing. And in that actually, return type, what type of value it returns? Float. That's why return type you must write properly. You know that now how we are calculating amount? What is the formula? Numbers into rate. Number are integer, float, rate is float. Int versus float, result will be float. So yeah, calculate amount returns the float value. Thereafter, within the body of the method, you have to declare a local variable. What for? Amount value is calculated, so that should be stored. So AMT one, which you can use short names here. Then float amount is equal to numbers into rate. You write, because of that amount is calculated and stored in AMT local variable. Then you have to return it. So by that calculate amount we have defined, and now we have to define one more instance method. What is that? Demo cash bill. Demo cash bill. Now we see that. In order to write the body of this method, you must have perfect command over SOP statement. Already I have explained about SOP thoroughly, and then you little practice. Without practicing, your intelligence will not do. Here practice will do. Just half an hour if you practice, then you will be perfect over SOP statements. And what type it is method returns, it does not return anything, because just to displace the values. So SOP statements you have to write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 SOP statements you have to write. Without practicing, you cannot write that. If you try to write that also, you face errors. Thereafter, you have to waste a lot of time. That's why first to practice and write. Don't copy that. By copying, you don't get any skills. Okay. And thereafter, here your blueprint class is required with how many items? 6 items. 3 instance variables, 1 constructor, 2 instance method. Blueprint class is ready. Then you can create n number of objects. So we are defining implementation class. In implementation class main we have to define. Within the main, now first object is name appropriately give. CB1 means cash bill 1, cash bill 2. Those are the objects. So you write that. Thereafter give appropriate values. Whatever values you are giving, as I told you already, they should reflect the real life. Suppose you are sugar. Sugar means what is the price of the sugar normally in the market? Around 50 rupees. That means you have rice. It should be around 50 to 70 rupees or 30 to 70 rupees. That you have to take. You should not take a rice cage 200 rupees and all that. That as soon as your program may be correct, but as soon as somebody sees this rice cage 200 rupees, then immediately understand you don't have any common sense. That's why, because of these things, not only writing program, and every bit of thing reflects your common sense, intelligence, discipline, everything and all that. Suppose without writing any comment and all that, if you write program, your program may be correct. But only thing is, whoever professional reads your program simply understand that you don't have any discipline. So that's why just your program documents about you. That point always you remember. Thereafter cash bill 2 also, we are cash bill 2 object also we are creating. Then 2 cash bills are printed. There is no limit on that. Now your blueprint is ready. Once the blueprint is ready, the type of n number of objects you create depending on your requirement. So blueprint class is ready, implementation class is ready. If you execute, thereafter you should call demo cash bill method. By that only output is printed. That point you have to remember. You need not pass any value, because already by calling constructor we passed all the values and instance variables are initialized. So simply you call demo cash bill, your cash bill is printed. Okay, now program is ready. The professional program, no doubt about that. Now you see the output. Output as you expected, it comes. Now you see that in output, see I rate rupees, amount rupees, all that. That is the professionalism. Normally students never bother about it. Suppose if it is feet, FT, if it is square feet, SFT, if it is cubic feet, CFT, like that. Every time some units are there. The units you must write, then only it reflects the professionalism. Okay, this is a solid program. I have given complete explanation thoroughly and all that by hands on, otherwise also. Then if you write this program 100% on your own, you can take it as a milestone in your journey.